first meeting in person in almost a year. Over a year. So it was, we gotta work a little kinks out a little bit, get back into our routine. So we're gonna open with our invocation from our chaplain, and I realized that I had left off the pledge, so the invocation will be followed by the pledge. So if you can stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge.
Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time that you allow us to come together for the good of our community. We ask that each and every one be able to present their ideas and you be good for us as we go through. In your name, amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know that this is new and different, and so we're getting back to normal. Maybe that's a better word for it. And we just appreciate it, and we welcome you. The board members are all in blue T-shirts. Well, Vanessa, she forgot hers. That's okay. Oh. Okay. Listen, I had to look for mine, okay? But these shirts were done by Tanika, one of our young board members. So okay. So first up, we're just gonna follow the agenda unless there have any changes or anything that's different. If somebody's not here, we'll just go right to the next person. So first up, Carrie, we have from our rec center. She's going to give us an update of what's going on here. Thank you, Carrie.
All right, great to see everybody in person. Welcome to the rec center. I think I've met a lot of people. I see a lot of familiar faces. So my name is Carrie Joe. I'm the center supervisor here. I used to be here as a center supervisor. I'm glad he's here tonight. He's helping out with the PA. But we'll make sure we have everything straight for future meetings. Thanks, Ken. I'm really excited because we had such great momentum with the Atlantic Community Day. We're going to continue that. We have a meeting Thursday, which I was talking to Captain O'Brien about. First thing on the agenda is getting kids rec center memberships, free rec center memberships. Yes, and then we'll tackle transportation. So lots of great relationships that were built that day. We're continuing on. We have monthly meetings on our agenda. We're also meeting with Ken's team from Yo and Fairstead to talk about the best way to use the programming funds here. So we're planning in conjunction with Fairstead and Youth Opportunities Office and the staff here at Seatack to talk about what kind of programs people want to see here and how we can facilitate that best. So in terms of usage, do you want to hear about usage for the summertime? Okay, I'll give you just a brief synopsis of summertime usage here at the center. We had for the summer of 2021, in terms of registered program participants, about 350 registered program participants for our aquatics unit, and that's everything from lessons to classes to that kind of stuff. We had two really amazing youth camps here this summer. We were limited in numbers because of spacing constrictions, but they were full. We did a martial arts mania camp for kids for 1 week. We had 12 participants in that. We also did a rocket adventure camp where they got on the wall daily and we did all kinds of fun things. That was full at 15 as well. We hold a number of pickleball clinics here, 3 or 4 a month depending on participation, but over the summer we had 88 registered participants for that. We did have a couple of rentals. The rentals have been a little bit slower here, but we have some more coming up this fall. I think when the weather cools down, you see a little bit more rentals happening in the center. Over the summer, we had about 57 or so game room participants per month. Our biggest numbers for participation in terms of open play was our pickleballers with 1,348 people participating. Yes. adults too. We have adult learning programs now too. So great programs for youth and adults.
That's important. Teacher, you have a question?
I thought it's probably something I could probably go off the website, but I was just wondering if you all hand, do you guys have something for the disabled?
Yes.
Like during the week or anything like that?
We do have a therapeutic recreation and inclusion unit in our department. So that's usually who we go to if there's something specific here that somebody would like to participate in. We have our inclusion specialist work with that family to incorporate them into the activity.
Okay, so nothing special, just for them.
And they're included in our regular program.
Okay.
Yes. And the number's on the website, but I can get it for you if you like.
Are you interested in open to an idea of doing something for a special night or special day for them?
Oh, I'm definitely open to that. You would love that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just come see me after we talk.
And you do special events throughout the year. I've seen that
Yeah.
for the whole city. But I've seen that at one particular restaurant or another.
Correct.
Thank you.
But if anyone has any specific ideas,
This is one good question, and thank you for that great presentation. So, are you recruiting, is Popular with recruiting any positions at this time? Can you
Yes.
answer that, or can you speak to that?
good question, thank you. Please go on our website, bbgov.com/parks, or there's an employment link on the city page. We have part-time positions for on a school-time unit, which is summer camps and before and after school programming, aquatics needs staff if you are a lifeguard, or we have rec center open positions if they want to work in the rec center. PAC, which is our Princess Anne Athletic Complex, is in dire need of people, so part-time positions mainly, but also a lot of full-time coming open. There seems to be a big transition of people moving into other opportunities, which is great, but then it leaves us with our goals. So yes, thank you for mentioning that. We definitely are hiring, and it's a great place to work right now. So,
And
yes,
you send me a link, I'll put it on our Facebook page.
sure.
And then you can like.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
And I'm especially happy about the swimming program, so I hope people sign their kids up for that. I was very surprised. I came from Baltimore when I came here with the amount of water that's around that there's no swimming. In Baltimore, when I grew up, you had to pass, swimming was a required gym. You had to pass swimming to graduate from high school. So I could swim, all my friends could swim, you get to pass it. And so I was really surprised, and all of our high schools had pools in school. So I was really surprised when I came here and that wasn't something that was required. So we got a place to do it, with great people to teach it. I think we should encourage our kids to participate. Okay, and so now I have the crime report by Captain. Oh,
I'm gonna say hi real quick.
okay,
Okay?
yes.
Thank you.
It's Deputy Chief Adams, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I got the title right. He kept moving up on us.
Hello, everybody. I'm Seatack, Deputy Chief of Operations. I won't take a lot of your time, because I know you want to hear from the captain, but I wanted to come and welcome you when you came back for in-person meetings. I've had the privilege to go around the city and meet with all of our citizen advisory committees and civic leagues who are now coming back out of the fog of COVID and really getting together and meeting face-to-face. You know, we've all been in virtual meetings and Zoom meetings, but there's nothing like bringing people together and having frank conversations about the things that matter. So a lot has happened since you all met, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that big picture. But before then, I too had the honor and privilege of being with you for your Atlantis one-day event here at the Rec Center. It was fantastic. I couldn't be more proud of what this Civic League has done to support our initiatives at the Second Precinct, and really how that one-day event brought so many things together. So the momentum, I agree with our director here, that we have momentum, and we do not want to lose that momentum. So it was a great event. So speaking of new, we have a new police captain. Not new to everybody, because everybody probably knows Captain McBride when he and I worked together here at the Second Precinct, and he was a lieutenant. So if you know Captain McBride, he is one of the most motivated individuals that Seatack, but meet the needs of the citizens of the 2nd Police Precinct. So we're happy to have Harry in place. I got the opportunity to move up to the Operations Division when we brought in Chief Newdigate. Chief Newdigate's from Cincinnati. He'll get the opportunity to come and meet with y'all, but he was also here at the one-day event, very impressed. Chief brings from Cincinnati a lot of fresh ideas, new approaches, and really has been a breath of fresh air in terms of what type of policing strategies we need in a 21st century environment. And we've luckily had him for about a year, so we'll bring him by and get him to meet with everybody so that you get to ask him some questions. We still struggle.
He's on the schedule.
Yeah, very good.
November, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, November.
Very good. So we still struggle and have some challenges as a profession. Council was gracious enough, and thank Mr. Tower, who's with us today, to really show their support for their first responders by giving some great pay raises to the men and women of our police department and public safety, but also a lot of other incentives that they were open-minded to and showed their support and put a lot of money and investment in some of the things that we're doing just down here at the oceanfront with additional cameras, some technology that's just incredible. It's called ShotSpotter. It's a gun detection technology that we put in key places where the data shows that a lot of our violent crime is occurring. So we definitely appreciate that, but we still are seeing officers leave the profession. Attributed to a variety of things, but we are fortunate enough to still have officers interested in joining the profession. So while some officers have decided to kind of leave for other reasons, go to take federal jobs or get out of the profession altogether or move back home, we are still seeing an interest in wanting to join the G&E's Police Department because of really the professionalism that we're known for around the state and really around the country. So that's encouraging. But a lot of good things are happening. I just wanted to say hi and welcome you all back. Thank you for your support. We have the greatest community, I think, in the country. We are so fortunate as a police department to have your support, even when times are tough. So we're here. You know we're approachable. You know we're going to be with you every step of the way. That's what has made us successful together for a long time, and under Harry's leadership, we expect it to continue. So thank you again. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to meeting you again.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It's so great to see you all in person. This is awesome. Very exciting. So I'm going to talk about the crime status real quick. It's actually really good news. Then I'm going to talk about what we've been doing, some issues we've been having right here in Seatack, and how we're going to need your help some more. I know I've been asking for a lot of help. I apologize. But it's a team effort. This is absolutely a team effort to make this place safe. And it's working. I'll show you that in the numbers here, actually. It's last year at this time. For 90 days, now I've been at the precinct for about 120 days. For the past 90 days, it's down close to 50%. That's amazing. So that's a lot of things coming together. That's a true team effort. That's us working with the business communities down the oceanfront, the bars and things like that, to take care of themselves inside. That's the support. And I'm not just saying this because Councilman Tower knows I call things like I see it. It is the absolute support of our city council giving us the tools and resources we need to make the changes that have been effective for the past basically 90 days or more. So that's amazing. So when the chief said it, we need it. We need that support. We've got it. So thank you. And really, it's about outreach. That community, the last community day, which we started planning on day one, literally the chief promoted me. He said, Harry, go home, take the rest of the day off, spend it with your family. I said, no, I'm going to be with Bearstead. We got some work to do. And I can tell you that a lot of good positives, that continued effort is happening. It's continuing. There are still some friends or family that know anybody in here, please get the word out. Because of our shot spotter technology, we have had a few incidents in there over the past few weeks. So please get the word out that we're not going to tolerate violence. You know we're going to take care of folks in there. But if there's some violent folks still living in there that report of the problem that existed before, we need your help before you know what goes on. With that said, as you know, fierce things about somebody else going to talk about their stuff.
I don't know if anybody's here from Pearson.
I think I know enough that if you don't mind me sharing, because I think it's important that everybody knows what's going
I
on.
thought somebody was coming.
The renovations are going to begin. So, they started, yes, so they've actually started some of their roof. I took a picture of that, the roof's going on. That's amazing. That's going to have a huge effect on folks in there because I'll tell you, it was neglected. Individual units were neglected, the outside's neglected. I went through there and looked like a sewer drain had busted. It was just causing trees and shrubbery to grow in the middle of a parking lot. How do we have people living like that in our neighborhood? That's just not right. The good news is to fix it. The issue we have is folks are going to be temporarily displaced during the construction. They're going to be located in another precinct. We had a problem where the school system, we're going to call things like that, call out the school system, but tell me what the issue was. We weren't able to get bus support from the school system. Fairstead has chartered a bus.
Okay, they did.
Chartered, I think, with Venture Tourismus. I called the guy. They were having problems finding a bus company that would call them back to get support. It just so happens I know that gentleman, and it's my understanding that that's taking place. So they are getting bus. And I met some of the principals today and explained to them what was going on with that. And I need their support in hopefully sending out some outreach to the hotel while these kids are displaced. All different ages. So I met with Phoebe Bill today, going to meet with Cook, met with First Colonial, let them know what's going on. And that's the important thing.
Seatack and Lindy.
Yes, so I'm going to go meet with all, I'm going to meet with Middle and all, yes. So I need everybody to support those efforts and support those kids while they're being displaced. We're not going to send them to another school. I don't think that's right. They need to stay with their home school during that time. So we need to support them. If that means once in a while some of our churches need to help out with blessing and things, let's make that happen. Their state will tell you exactly who's being displaced. They have lists. I'm going to share that with the principals. We need to continue because we lost a generation. We did lose a generation of folks, a few folks that got caught up in violence. Let's not lose this next generation. Let's continue to support them, wrap our arms around them, and get them on the right path. Okay? So that's what's going on with that. Some good stuff. Here's the other things that are going on in your area. I'm really concerned about the quality of life of that trailer park over there. Not just that one, but common. That's in their community. I'm working with the owners of that place and the city, neighborhood preservation as well as human services to get those folks some support. There's money existing in programs currently that will help fix some of those trailers up as a triage, I'll call it. But the overall goal is we got to get those folks out of the housing and get them into better housing. And there's programs that exist. We just need to close the loop on it. So I'm going to need some more support in that. And I got Miss Felton was out there on a hot Saturday for a good 5 to 6 hours, handing out backpacks. There's over 300 in those two communities as well as another 2 in the third, but for hours out there, giving out backpacks full of stuff for the kids. We also did Kona Ice. We've been getting out Kona Ice and doing some outreach. So we're going to need some support on how we redevelop that area and get those folks some better housing. It's just terrible. And then Colony's going to be next. The reason I'm trying to focus on that is because out of the two, that one's the worst. And the owners are more willing to work with me right now and try to get those folks on the right path also. So besides that, crime is really down. The only area that we saw an increase in crime, and it's really not so much in Seatack, is people leaving their keys in their cars, leaving their cars running during the summer months over 50% of our stolen cars, they leave them running or the keys fob to them. Please share with your friends and family. Don't do that. Don't leave valuables in there. That's the other. Even with all that, the overall property crime is down 30%. So, but still, we saw a spike in those stolen cars, and that's stuff we can fix. So we're on the right path. We're working together. There is a lot of synergy at many different levels. With you said it in that video. I can't wait for you to share that video. It bothers me so much that we have kids in this neighborhood that have never been down to that ocean. That's just wrong. So we're gonna close the loop on that. Can I share real quick about Jamie and Mason?
Right, we haven't met with them yet, but it's just, we
Can
want
I
to,
share the concept?
yes.
So I would love, and I think you would all support, is we tie the neighborhood into an event that occurs down at the oceanfront, which is the Wicked 10K. They want to come through the neighborhood. The whole point of that would be leading up to the Wicked 10K, which is let's do shoe drops, let's do events in the neighborhood, let's go back in the event, let's continue to stay in the events, let's go into other areas of Seatack, get the kids involved, get them a part of that, and then culminate with the Wicked 10K going through the oceanfront. That's our opportunity. They're on board. I can tell you right now, I met with Jerry on Saturday at the OU football game. He can't wait. He doesn't want to wait for it. He wants to start getting in and helping us now in some of these areas. We've got to get this rec center involved. Getting those free memberships is really how we keep those kids on a good path, the path they got caught up in over the past couple of years. I didn't mean to take so much. I apologize, but there's a lot going on. Got a lot to say sometimes. So I'll leave it at that. Any questions for me? So you had a question about concerns about officers responding to mental health cases.
Yes, last time we met in February, last time we had met with 2 officers who said there's going to be more training to know how to deal with the mentally unstable. They don't know when to recognize a schizophrenic individual or autism, Asperger's, and they just do not handle them properly. Something like that.
So what we started on a trial basis is going to end up turning into a full-time basis. It's called mobile co-responder teams. That's where a clinician and a police officer are in the car together and they go to those cases where it involves a CIT, or a crisis intervention. So that's coming. What's cool about that is finally the state and other folks who have not dealt with this problem and put it on the police, which we do not want to be in that problem.
That's right.
We don't need to be going in there with all these weapons and stuff. We don't. But a triage to that would be these mobile co-responder teams until they can figure out a way to have folks that don't have all this on them go. And sometimes, even though we're pretty good at de-escalating, just looking at us, that could create.
That can escalate.
Yeah. So we understand that more of those funding teams from the state are coming. They're actually going through that now. The goal is to get a processing center on this side of the water where we can be like a one-stop shop. I can tell you, if you see it in the news, there's a bed space problem out there. There's not enough bed space for folks that are in crisis. That's huge. So I believe the state's working on that. That's what you're going to get in your communities. Really, we're going to be at the forefront of that. And that's impressive.
Have you thought about sending some of your chaplains in the police office?
So our chaplains do come to certain situations, yes.
But is it still some type of, because I think the problem that we had was the officer was thinking that handcuffing is actually a de-escalating tactic, and it's not.
Yeah. So they would only do it, and they're only supposed to do it when it's a safety issue. It should not be an automatic. They're getting better training on that. They're getting it in an academy. They get crisis. A lot of our CIT folks go through a full week's worth of that training, so they understand.
And that's going to start when will that start?
Oh, that's our training's already started. It's been going for a while, yes. Yeah, but those mobile co-responder teams are coming out in the next, I would say next month or 2. We already have some in place, and I'll tell you, when we have those that actually go out, the few that we have, it has absolutely reduced the number of forced temporary detention orders because that clinician is able to convince them, hey, go commit yourself. Maybe. So 98% effective on that. That's huge.
That's good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good question. She asked me that earlier, and I asked her to bring it up because I think that's important. You know. What else?
Anybody else have any questions?
Awesome. Hey, thank you all.
Any updates on body cameras?
Every police officer from the chief on down has one of these.
I know in the past there was an issue in several meetings we've had where they didn't address the procedure, the requirement. If it should come on automatically, I know there's technology, just like you just mentioned some of the other technological advances, but there's technology, as soon as you get out the car, it automatically comes on.
So what they've done is the chief's already authorized for them to go back as far back as the camera will allow to take it. So even though it's not on, it will pick up video for the past, I think it's 4 minutes, I believe, but it won't have audio. Now, we're all transitioning to these new holsters, which have the automatic engagement of the camera. So that's in the process.
You got
But-
question answer.
Huh?
You didn't answer that.
I don't know.
It didn't get, does it come on automatically or something?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
you're talking when they come out the holster.
Yeah, so
The only thing with that, not to give you any pushback, is you do have situations where you don't even have to take your host, to tell the whole context of what transpired
Right.
in there. And just being transparent with you, I've personally known of situations where we had to request the body camera from the police officer, and we're still waiting. And it's from
yeah,
probably about a few years back.
so that whole process of going through and getting doing a request through, and I'm not familiar with that, other than I know it does take a little time. But as far as our cameras, like I said, everybody's got them. What I found is me being on for 25 years and never having this technology, it's a matter of learning to remember to turn it on when you leave the thing. You put it in the standby mode. So what we've done is the recruits are issuing day one to get them in that mindset of turning it on every day and right during all their situations. So it's training their mind also.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone going to give a report about advances in the security that's going to be going on in the advances?
So, excellent question. The chief is authorized and they are hiring overtime or part-time officers in there. That started last week. So that's good. And then Atlantis is putting in a pretty impressive security system to include lighting and cameras. Once those are in place, we're going to figure out who's shooting weapons.
Silence is a period of silent contemplation.
So various officers around there at what, one time?
So I don't want to share the times,
That's
if that makes sense, because I don't want
right.
the bad element to know, but they are in there.
Okay, because maybe on like
I'm sorry.
I stay on the social media and if I see just the violence and the videotapes.
So
of the
put out
violence.
there, Virginia Beach police officers are being hired in there. Cameras are going to be installed. The only reason they haven't been installed now is because of the supply chain issue. It's not a matter of
Make
money.
it a better, safer environment for those kids.
Yes, yes.
I see a lot of
That's-
adults out there.
I need your help in putting that out on social media. Okay. Convince those that might do something bad not to.
Oh, I'm always on it. I say something every time, but I knew at one time the police used to be out there, kind of decreased it. And then they don't see nothing, it's like a bad war zone.
Good question.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you all. Really appreciate all your support.
Thank you.
Kenneth, before you come up, I do want to say, I have been working with Fairstead, and since I was working with them, trying to get the transportation they needed for the kids to get to the schools. We also talked to the chief of dreams as well, and they said they didn't have the funding to support it. So I'm glad that they're using that. I think we told them about TransQuest as well, one of the charter bus systems. They're also looking to hire a maintenance technician person. I believe it's full-time, and I do have that listed on our Facebook page. Take this off, I'm sorry, on our Facebook page. So they're doing some amazing things back there, as Captain the first group, and then they'll do another group. And so for 6 to 8 weeks, you don't want to move those kids, because that's going to just cause more confusion for them, especially the younger they are. So it's just easier to keep them in their home schools, and so that's why we're doing that work again. And there is a video that they did for the Atlantis Community Day, but I can't put it up yet because we're waiting for all the parties in the video to approve it, so that they can go out and Carrie's in the video, and so it's Captain Brian, and I'm also in the video, but it's a very good video. Oh, you were in the video. Did you see it? I sent y'all a link to the board.
I may or may not have gotten glossy eyed watch, I'm just saying.
But it was a really good video. And so, I have Kenneth coming next, he's gonna tell us some stuff about what's going on in Parks and Rec, right? And why?
Well, I can share some information just briefly about, you guys, you already heard about Ferris Head, and I just kind of share the youth opportunity involvement and opportunity, but not too much on Parks and Rec. Carrie definitely went over very detailed about, we're hiring and what's going on right now with our current staffing levels, with staffing employed and working different areas. But yes, with the Youth Opportunity Office, right now our programs, as some of you employment program, is pretty much over. We extended some programs for some of our youth, but I will be back as soon as the program is gearing up to make sure I share the information so that we can try to get youth and young adults in this area to hopefully participate in the program and earn a meaningful work experience. We also have our web page that Carrie passed out, and I know she's going to give you the link so that you can go up there on our web page, our Parks and Rec web page. Of course, you can navigate to other different web pages for our fitness and athletics and the rec centers, but you can also check out the Youth Opportunity web page. And that's where you're going to see our NYLA program, that's our American Youth in Action. So we're constantly trying to recruit young people for that program. We want a very diverse group of people. What I mean by that, we're going to have some students who may be A on the road, but we also want to have some students who may be just really trying their best, and maybe their best is a C, right? So we just want those kids to be involved too, so they can all learn from each other. And it's a really great program because it's a youth-led, youth-driven program. The youth come up with the activities, the community civic engagement programs. It's not my job. We kind of help facilitate, but it's their ideals and they implement the program. So they do a fantastic job at that program. So I want to make sure that young people in this community know about it, so that we can expand that program out. If you guys been out to Williams Farm Recreation Center, which I hope y'all do travel to the other rec centers, coach wants you to say at Seatack, but it's good to go around sometimes just to see the other rec centers that they get the ideal and that help you think about Seatack, But Williams Farm Rec Center, that's the studio, the teen media studio that we have there. So what we try to do is create opportunity for young people to pretty much middle school on up to basically have an opportunity to learn different media platforms, photography, cinema, music. So we have different media platforms that we want young people to get exposed to. And the best way to get exposed is to go to the Williams Farm Recreation Center and check out the media studio. We have a link on the Parks and Rec webpage. You can register so you can like walk in or drop in. But that's a great opportunity for young people who are creative and they want to make a video or maybe make part of the youth church group and they want to do something for the congregation, so they can go to the studio and put together their own projects there. We have a wonderful young man named Trey who runs that program. He's highly motivated at working with young people and patients. So he would take the time out to make sure that the young people artwork or wherever they create come out and look really good for who they want to present it to. All right, now going back to Ferris Head, Tiffany, my supervisor and myself, we have been meeting up with Estelle and her team pretty much on a monthly basis. And I think they've been doing different meetings with different people like Captain Brian, maybe inclusive, and so how can we also make sure programs are open up to that community. And so that's the big stage still going now, and we're putting together some thing with our department and with their management to pretty much put together some program that we want to do throughout the year. We should be starting these meetings with Carrie and the community person. I think her name is Tanya. Is that the name now? Out there?
Tanya and Allie.
I know it's Tanya, and Devin is I want to say maybe like one of the property managers out there. So what they're going to do is get us together with the community over there so that we can kind of hear from the community, because I think that's very important, and figure out what they want. Not just, but I think it's going to work out in that community. But from there, we'll have a chance to meet with the community. Maybe this month or next month, I'm not quite sure. From our last meeting, they just threw out a date for us. And from there, we'll start meeting with Carrie and the team here at Seatack. Of course, we'll be in touch with Captain Brian, and just all the stakeholders who can help us come up with some good programs for the community. And like I said, one of the goals is to try to make it inclusive, and can they also reach out and branch out to the other communities and Seatack area. Besides that, they did a vaccine drive out there. Let me say it was August the 23rd. I think that's a Monday. I was on vacation when they put the word out, so I wasn't able to advertise it, but I know Tammy, you probably had some input in that, opening the word out. But it really spoke to me about that initiative, that they really tried to not only just make sure that the residents had a chance to be vaccinated, but they also were able to vaccinate people outside the community. They really had some positive response from the community. People didn't know about Alliance. The outside community was very grateful. So I was happy to hear that the management team is not just thinking about Alliance. Because you know anything about Seatack, it takes everybody to lift everybody up. So you have all the churches, friendship, and think about friendship, and many more apartment complex as Captain Brown used through trailer park. So we really got to help one another, and that was one thing I thought was really nice about they did that vaccine drive. So not much because we're in the planning stages, but I definitely keep you guys posted, and I know you will be posted from Michelle as we continue the program. And the biggest thing is to make sure we see the fruits of our labor. Talk about the momentum. Terry talked about it. We don't want to lose that, and that's why we've been meeting with Fairstaff once a month. And it's not long, something for like 30 minutes, but just to make sure that we're touching base, we keeping the energy, the synergy going, so that nobody forget what the purpose is. After we get the nice community day, we don't want to lose that. And so we want to make sure that we really get something out of all the hard work that everybody been putting into it. For the community, most important. So that's what I've been doing, and every time I come here, I'm just sitting back, I want to listen, see what's going on, and see how use opportunities to maybe help, or we can probably match different people up with people we know. If we can't help, just step out the way and see what somebody else has to help, and that's how we try to match other stakeholders up with other people who have the same motive, like-minded, to do something positive for the community.
Thank you.
Yes, I got a question that might tie into you and also the police department. Grew up in Baltimore, one thing that we had with the rec centers was a PAL program.
What's that called?
PAL.
Police athletically.
Yes. It's to where the police officers, because my daughters, they to this day, they remember spending time with the police officers that will come to the rec center and play games with them. And it helped in that generational gap to where you understand the police, you respect the police. They also, it's a twofold process because the police get to know the community. They get to understand the kids, some of those things. So it's one of those things that's important. So I don't know if anything like that was ever addressed in regards to trying to get a partnership that would help facilitate that.
So I was part of that program back in the late 1900s when I first joined.
1900.
I help do that. We would go to the
Before
rec
the
centers. I was part of the community precinct, and we used to do daily stuff with the kids over in Kempsville. But then we would do like, Sandra Wilburn just retired. She was the police officer assigned at First Colonial. She would do like weekend retreats at the YMCA, camp and all that. So we did a lot of that. It went away. I would love to be a part of that coming back. That is amazing.
See?
We have lost, that's what I mean, we've lost the generation.
Yeah.
That's on us too. We as a community have got to support them.
Glad you mentioned it because yes, are you familiar with Nikki Vasquez? She was part of the college program way back in 1800. Maybe a lot. And so I have a couple team members that was part of that program. Maybe Greg Ferry works here, who's been part of that program. We have some team members who have some years here that have been part of that program before it dissipated and went away. And I know. My thing is, I just want to make sure, whatever type of program we do, that everybody realize that when we're doing this type of stuff, it takes a lot of effort, energy,
Resources, money,
yeah,
time.
You got to be consistent. You know,
Yeah.
can't just be lip service.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Commitment.
The main thing is just stay on the grind. And those programs may pop up, but I'm pretty sure we got people like Brian, Terry, myself, and the Seatack facility, and so many others. That's really engaged, Pastor Jason Knight, Rehoboth and all the churches around here. I was going to say Miss Young, but I can't use your name right now, sorry. But I believe you have a little bit of stake in the park at the Seatack Park, right?
Ratisha.
Ratisha, I'm sorry, Ratisha. You know, Ratisha? Greatly needed for the community. You asked the question that maybe somebody want to hear, right? But I just want to say it's going to take a lot of. This is why I tell my supervisors time. It's not just going to be happening overnight. You just got to keep pounding at the door and keep working together. Companies like Fair said, we're going to be able to do something nice, I'm sure. Yes,
Just
yes,
a quick question. I like the question. I remember the PAL program as well. So could that be one of our RISE program that we have with the park recreation? It's recreation, imagination, socialization, and education. That is something that we already have in park recreation. It is an out-of-school program. So maybe we could put those two together with the police department, and then, because it does speak to the community. And it is in every school. RISE is in every school when it comes to park and recreation. So maybe we could make it a component, add it into it as well. And I think Harry is part of that.
Yeah, I was going to say tomorrow I'll be
Yeah.
right in Harry's door, bringing this to his attention with my supervisor.
Right.
Because I'm aware of the RISE program, and yes, Harry's over that program, so I'll make sure I talk to him tomorrow and just plug in the ears to let them know that it came up. It's something that we can hopefully maybe initiate.
Latanya Breeze has zone 5. Very good question. I like that, and it would help a lot if it, bring it in. So it's called the RISE program.
Yeah. I will bring it over here, and I know that also will take some work on the police department with the COW program.
Yep. So we have SROs in the middle of high schools. We can get them involved. They're perfect for it.
So thank you, Ms. Ellison. I'll make sure first thing in the morning that will be in my mind.
You got one more question?
Yes.
I remember when I was in middle school, the program was like that, but if we're really thinking the police department can do, like you said, being consistent, not starting it and then they started it. What they did was they incorporated the military. And I had a buddy, and he would come and check on me. It was almost to make sure he didn't get in trouble. They sometimes had a table with a female, which was the female. When they ran out, we would have a buddy, and they stayed consistent on it because the police department, they really do have a big job to do around here. So the weekends they can't come, or the month they can't come, they alternated with the military. And that was able to get everyone a buddy who needed one, so they would stay out of trouble. Just kind of was a big brother. It was called a big brother, big sister program.
Oh, they still have that.
Yeah.
But I want to say Big Brother Big Sister is out of Portsmouth.
Okay.
But they're the whole south
Okay, yeah, I
side.
know the name
It's
of the
not,
school.
yeah, they're the whole south
So just,
side.
if that's an option to try to, so it won't be something they're starting to stop them, or they won't be overwhelmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll write that down, so
Yeah,
that's
but
my
they're
plan.
a nonprofit out
Of
of
course.
But they're still around. A lot of nonprofits had to downsize and close doors and things like that, girls' leagues and different things, even Girl Scouts have gotten a little bit. But yeah, those are definitely good programs and they work.
Yeah, they work.
Yes, they work. I want to say, I thought when my daughter was at BBville, they had a young ladies club that was sort of similar. What was it called? Lace. Okay, and it was sort of similar. You had mentors that came in, right? That's what I thought. I just.
Then they took you to concerts, everything.
Everything,
you know.
yeah, and I think,
Right.
there's, another program that's out of Franklin, I can't think of the name, but it's similar. So I do think that those programs work, and certainly we can work in partnership with them, that would be really good.
Yeah, and I'm the type of person, I like ideas and then I get real excited. So I just gotta pull myself back and say, I definitely know we're gonna be focused on Atlanta's department.
Right, you gotta prioritize.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm gonna throw a lot of energy into that with
Yeah.
the stakeholders in this community. And wherever come out of it, like PALS, if that's able to develop and grow,
Yeah, that'd be
then everything will grow. But we definitely wanna make sure that we stay focused on
Yeah,
starting with the first program and stick to our work we send up here every day.
That's
yeah,
good.
that's true. So, and I will say, I know that those kind of programs take time and money. I worked for Girl Scouts for 14 years, and Virginia Beach was my area. And so I did cover Atlantis and Friendship when I was a manager, and I had funding. I had to pay an activity leader to do Girl Scouts in Atlantis and Friendship. I had a paid staff person that did the program. And often we had parents who say, well, what about the boys? I couldn't do anything about that because I didn't work for them. But that's how I knew the girls hadn't seen the oceanfront, because my paid volunteer took them camping to First Landing State Park, and they didn't have appropriate clothes. They didn't know what to wear. But when you're a Girl Scout, you always prepared. My car's full of stuff right now. I'm still a Girl Scout. And so she had a bunch of Girl Scout t-shirts and long sleeve ones. She taught them how to layer their clothes so how they could stay warm and everything. And that was the first time they had seen the Atlantic Ocean. So I do know, and the one thing about the programs, like Girl Scouts, or if you go in the parks or Rise or Police, is you do have to be consistent. It can't just be you go in so that you get the numbers and then you don't show up anymore. And you can't go in as if you're saving them. You're going in there because you want to be there to help them. And that was one of the main issues that I always did with Girl Scouts. I think that's why I applied for it. I remember when I started, they had crazy United Way goals, like counting how many times the girls got into a fight or how many times they cursed. I was like, we're not counting that. No, we're gonna do some other stuff. I got them in the babysitting courses. We taught them first aid CPR, because my thought was if they're watching a younger sibling, they need those skills to save their lives or their sibling lives. So I put them in programs that was going to help them, benefit them. Programs that would take them whale watching. You know, something that they were out of their element that they hadn't done before. So I think that's what we have to look at when we're looking at these programs for these kids, is that not just, we want them to be meaningful and beneficial and not just counting numbers. All right, I'm off my soapbox, I'm so sorry. Girl Scout will be coming out. So now I have Jess Archer coming. This is real important because Seatack is, the city got a grant that will, for Seatack and
LJ Gardens.
L&J Gardens. And we are part of this grant for our history to get told, and it's real important. So Jessica will come up and tell you a little bit more about it and what she's doing and what she needs from us. Okay?
Thank you so much for having me today. As Tammy said, my name is Jess Archer, and I work for a historic preservation group called Commonwealth Preservation. We're based in Norfolk, and I think some of you might have seen me on the last Zoom meeting before summer hit, and so I'm just so happy to be able to meet you in person and say hello and kind of remind you of the project and let you know where we are. We have gone out and done an initial 10% survey. We went down South Bird Neck, and then we went down Beautiful Street, and we captured buildings, we took some pictures. We actually met with one of the residents who came out and kind of asked us what we were doing there. And she actually ended up telling us about how her father made to people. We had a little bit of issues, couldn't get a hold of quite everyone. Some people's mailboxes were full. I'm sure, like me, I always screen my phone calls, so if I see a weird phone number, I'm not going to answer it. So we decided that we're just going to have one day and have everybody who wants to come to the rec center. We're going to be in the annex. We scheduled it for Tuesday, September 28th. That is a weekday. We're hoping that people who don't have to work can come. And then if there is anybody who is interested but does have to work, please reach out to us because we'll be happy to schedule something on a weekend and help your all schedule. I did create a sign-up sheet for that day. If I can send it around and you guys can sign up, I think that would just be the way to go. If you want to put down your email address or phone number, I can contact you and give you a reminder before the day actually comes. They're going to be in 45-minute increments because we're going to take 15 minutes and sanitize everything due to COVID. We're going to be as careful as we possibly can for your guys' safety and for ours. But basically, we just want to ask you some questions about what you remember growing up here, what you remember how the community developed, how buildings came to be, and if you want to team up in groups of 2, that would also be helpful. We found that teaming up tends to, you can work off of one another for memories. Sometimes somebody will be telling a story and it'll remind somebody of something else. So we're happy to do teams of 2. Anything bigger starts to get a little bit too busy, but happy to do the groups of 2. So I'm going to pass this around. It also has my contact information on it, and I'll let you go. Let me make sure I got everything. Yes. Yeah. Were there any questions?
What time is it?
We're going to start early at 8 a.m. and we're going to go to 5 p.m. And it'll be in hour increments. It'll be me and one other coworker from my group. And you will also see me out and about starting in October with another coworker. We'll be wearing yellow vests. We'll be walking around the community, continuing on the survey. So.
Thank you. Are you taking volunteers to go around with you and with Joe Jackson?
I'm sorry?
Are you taking volunteers to go around with you and survey Joe Jackson?
No, we usually just work when we're doing survey, all we are doing is taking pictures of the buildings, and where we have a sheet that we have to fill out. We have to talk about how tall the building is, what the building's made out of. So it really doesn't require any volunteers. We do it all digitally. So we just work from our group, and that's what we were hired to do from the city of Virginia Beach. So, but if you see us out in the neighborhood, please stop and say hello.
I have a question. You said you did South Virginia, you did your, are you going to do your?
Yes. Yeah. We just, it'll start in October, and we just did the initial one because we have to send an initial 10%, which was roughly about 30 buildings that we had to do. We had to send that to the Department of Historic Resources and make sure that they approve of what we're filling out. So it was just kind of a cursory innards. And we also wanted to assess and see how long it was going to take us, that kind of thing.
So you say you'll start in October?
Yeah, it'll be early October, and then we'll be moving into mid. I'm not exactly sure when we're not going to be hit, but you'll see us around, hopefully. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you all so much for your time. I'm also going to leave some informational sheets if you want to take it. It just talks about what a historic district is and is not. So for instance, a historic district officially recognizes the architectural and historic significance of the area. It does not prevent an owner from renovating or demolishing. It does not require an owner to restore or renovate property, and it does not restrict an owner's use of his or her property. So we want to make that very clear. This is just to document and try to preserve what is intact historically still.
fire department. I was thinking, Carrie was saying her Forever Young group meets. That might be a good group for you to come and meet with. What, do they come every day, Ken? We could check.
all that changed.
We could check with Carrie and get the hours, but that's an older generation that comes here, that maybe. Because I remember Miss Only used to be a part of that group. Yeah, and stuff. I mean, she's nasty.
Maybe the daughters still have all the information.
Right. Do you know?
Yeah, she had books and stuff.
Who?
Miss Homie, she invited me to her home one day. She
Oh,
got like.
I have some of that stuff in my, it's in my car. I need to give that to you. I didn't give that to you, did I, Gigi? It's still in my car, right? Oh, because, I want it out of my car, she wanted it out of her house.
Well, we'll be happy to.
But we still want it back,
Oh,
but,
of course,
yes, okay.
yeah, it'll be great.
I'm so glad you said that.
Thank you, yes, that would be great.
That teamwork, feeding off each other.
So I'll just email
For
her.
her about the group, and I'll get you the thing out. Okay. I'm so glad you said that. Thank you. Y'all leaving?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up my son.
Okay, but before you leave, there's some flyers back there, about the candidates forum. Will you please pick that up, and, if you want to ask questions to the candidates, we're having a candidates forum here on September 30th. But there's a flyer back there. I just want to make sure you got that. Okay, so we have two officials with us tonight. I have Councilman Tower and our school board, representative of each district, Ms. Felton, and I don't think there's anybody else, right, from the official? Okay. We can have our Councilman Tower come up and speak to us. Thank you.
It's so great to see all of you, even with the mask. I will look forward to the day when I can see your smiling faces. I know you're smiling out there. I won't take long. I just thought I'd touch very quickly on a couple of things to get the conversation started, and then you guys are free to ask me anything at all if you want to. City Council, we have a vacancy on City Council now in the Lynn Haven District. And council, somewhat reluctantly, is going to have to appoint someone because right now the law doesn't really make provision for us to call for an election. So we're going to have an appointment, and it'll probably last until November of next year. A lot of background of that, but it'll be a longer term appointment. So it's an important one, and if you happen to live in or have friends or relatives in the Lynn Haven District, I urge you to get involved with that and find out who's running, and let me know what you think of them, because I am wide open for candidates. I met with one candidate this morning, and I assume others. The deadline, I believe, is later this week, maybe the end of this week, for candidates to file for that.
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am.
could you explain
Where
where
the Lynn Haven District is?
Yeah, because that calls, they don't even know.
You know, I was sitting there thinking somebody's going to ask me that.
Yeah.
I didn't find the map I was looking for while we did it, but I can tell you that the Lynn Haven District runs from, on the north part of the beach, it runs all through Great Neck and all the way over to Kings Grant area. And then as far as how far south it goes, the beach district is kind of strange. It only starts like at 47th Street, and it's pretty narrow and skinny between the oceanfront and the back of the Cavalier Hotel, and then it starts spreading out as it gets farther south. So the north side of Laskin Road, most of that is in the Lynn Haven District. I have some of the south side of Laskin Road and some other neighborhoods that don't, but that's not a good explanation. I'm sorry. But it's basically the northeast quadrant, not a quadrant, but a big hunk of the northeast part of the city, all the way up Shore Drive, over, down, through Great Neck, and down the Laskin Road. Yes,
So
ma'am.
you have to live in a district to run.
You have to live in the district to run, yes. You have to live in the, which raises a whole nother issue that, again, we could spend a whole session on, but we are probably, our next election will be totally different than right now. The candidates have to live in a district. Right now we have 7 district members, 3 at-large members, and the mayor. The 7 district members each have to live in the district that they represent. The 3 at-large members can live anywhere. The mayor can live anywhere. We are probably going to transition to a, I call that one a 7-3-1. You got 7 districts, but all of them vote at large. Everybody votes on every council member and the mayor. In the lawsuit that's going on right now, and has been going on for several years, we expect that the court will order the election to be in the next election for city council, which would be in November of next year, 2022. Probably will be 10 districts in that election, and then the mayor will continue to be elected at large. And only the people, and we also expect that only the people that live in the district will elect the representative from that district. You want to call, some people call that a ward system.
Right.
And that's where we're headed. We're probably headed there anyway in the court case in this county. So, a few other things that are going on. First of all, we have a retreat tomorrow. It's not going to be televised, as most council meetings are. Otherwise, it's open to the public. It'll be in Building 19 down at the courthouse. If you want to drop in and visit with us, we'd love to have you. It's going to start at 8:30 in the morning, and it's going to go all day. We're probably scheduled to adjourn at 5.
So it's not going to be, I'm not going to be watching my phone.
You're not going to be able to watch it on your phone. It's not going to be recorded either. And the purpose of that, I think, is to try to encourage council members to speak more freely. It doesn't have any effect on me. I mean, I speak my mind pretty much all the time anyway. But that's been the tradition that they've had for the retreats. A number of very interesting topics coming up, but the city manager controls the agenda, and he chose not to send us an agenda. And
That was an argument that y'all had at the last meeting.
and I think that's pretty clever argument, because if he'd sent us an agenda, everybody would be getting their opinions all done. We'd start arguing about it right away. Now we have to sit there and listen for a while.
Yeah. But some people were pushing for that. They
I
wanted that.
know, I understand both sides,
I
but
was watching that.
anyway, we're going to hear and see what the agenda is when we get there. In addition to, by the way, the vacancy in Lynn Haven, there's also a vacancy in vice mayor. Because Mr. Wood, who was the representative of the Lynn Haven district, was also the vice mayor. So when he resigned, it created 2 vacancies. And we have not set a date for that election. And there are 3 candidates that I know of that are declared. One is Ms. Wilson, who is an at-large representative. The other is Ms. Wooten, who represents the Centerville district, and the other is Mr. Rouse, who's another at-large. And all 3 have indicated they're interested in being elected as the next vice mayor. That's an election by council. So that'll probably happen in the near future, but I don't have a specific date for it. A couple things that are going on you might be interested in. New City Hall. The new City Hall is behind and to the right as you're facing the old City Hall. And there's a very nice new entranceway that you can see. The building end of this year, maybe January. That's been moved back to April of next year. Based on my discussions with the supervisor, I think that's going to stay on schedule. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't, in fact, move. I don't expect any further delays. I invite you all to come down and see it. I think it's a good building both for the people who work there every day and for visitors. You'll enjoy it. The Alaskan Road Annex, formerly known as Lynn Haven Langhorne Elementary School, is now going to be developed. At least we have invited proposals from various people about how it should be developed. And I think Ms. Wilson and I are representatives of council on a group of city people who are going to be looking at some suggestions from people about what to do with that property. And I thought some of you might be interested in seeing that. I think it's an opportunity for a very attractive development. There are some flooding issues with that property, but I think they can take care of it. I know there was a presentation recently that you guys might be interested in receiving as well on the new CIP. That's the capital improvement project. The two new CIP projects, one for 18th Street and one for 17th Street. The 18th Street one is about an $8 million project. The 17th Street one is a $26 million project, and that's just from Cypress to the oceanfront. The real issue, and one that I'm very, very interested in, is trying to accelerate the CIP project for west of Cypress, to Birdman, because I think that will open up a lot of opportunities for redevelopment of some of the properties that are off of that, and it's obviously going to have to be with some flood control projects as well. So it's going to be a relatively expensive project, but I think it is past time for Virginia Beach Boulevard, at least in that section of it, to be brought up to date, somewhat the way we've done with Alaskan Road and the other major four-lane inputs into the city. The 17th Street is kind of the stepchild, and I really hope we can do it, and in the process have an intelligent redevelopment of some of the property around there that the community will be involved in, and we can make some smart decisions on
As
that.
long as I can get a traffic light at CUC, then we can do anything.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Traffic light.
So the other big thing on the agenda is, and we're having a referendum in November. And the referendum will be a vote on whether or not the public approves a plan to accelerate our flood control. It's most of the projects, and there's $500 million worth of projects in this, and most of them are already on the books. There are projects that we have already planned, that work has been done over the course of the last several years, but we don't have the money to do them on the schedule that council believes is a smart thing to do. We think, as council, and the reason we're putting it to the public, we think the smart thing to do is to accelerate that project, because if we don't, if we can only spend what we will expect in revenues from the current level of taxes, it will take us into the 2040s to complete a lot of these projects. And we think a lot of them ought to be completed in the next 6 or 7 years. And even the ones that are really long-term, for example, I don't know whether you know where the Bow Creek Golf Course is. The plans for that are to convert the entire golf course into a big, huge retention water area. But hold this water, so when we get a 100-year flood, we're building these for 100-year flood.
Yeah,
And,
that's better.
yeah, that's what it is, but we're going to try to make it useful as what we're doing. Final comment. If you're a homeowner, what is this going to cost you to advance, spend this money in advance? Because bonds cost money, the city has to pay interest on. One good thing is the interest rates are extremely low right now, which means in the city is a very AAA rated, meaning we get the lowest rate, other than the federal government, we get about the lowest rate you can get when we borrow money. And so it's a good time, assuming that the present circumstances, if you're going to borrow money, now's a good time to do it. But it will probably raise, for every $100 of value of your house, your home, land and house, it will probably add somewhere between 4 and 6 cents per 100. What does that mean for a year? It probably add somewhere between $100 and $115, somewhere in that range to your annual bill, real estate bill. Okay, I don't want to take any more of your time. I'm glad to answer your questions, but I want to give Ms. Felton her due too. She's got a lot of great stuff.
There is
And I'm here as long as you need me tonight. I'll answer questions.
We got one question.
there's
Mr. Kurt Clark. You reading my mind? The medium across the GTS for Carissa Court, nothing has been initiated on that. We talked about it last year.
I did it. And I will ask my friend Taylor where we are with that tomorrow morning. I
Please,
haven't checked with him. I should have checked with him.
please.
I did check with him last week. He was in California. So I'll try to get you an answer.
Okay, thanks. I'm looking for it. Appreciate it.
And I
Thank you.
did put a flyer, there is a flyer about the, Delcina Mal sent me, that they're having a community meeting at the,
Yeah.
at Corporate Landing on the 27th.
And this is not for our referendum.
Oh,
This
it's
is
not?
about the state thing.
Flooding,
It's a little
oh, okay.
confusing.
Oh, yes.
I encourage you to go to that.
Yes.
But on the 30th, we are having a meeting, probably, what time is it?
7.
So, well, the meeting is 6 o'clock. There's a meeting at City Hall on September 30th also to answer questions people have about the flooding. But what I want to do is in October, bring some people in here, so if you can't go to that meeting, and I think the candidate form's a great idea,
Right.
that in October you can get the full money here. We'll give you all the information you want. I'll bring somebody in here who knows all the answers. Thank you.
Schools are open. If you have any questions, please give me a call. I don't know if you've been watching the school board meetings lately.
They're too long.
They've grown really contentious and they are long, but we're getting policy to make sure that we set up some of that down. But any questions you want to ask me about that, call me. It's time for us. Schools are open. Bus drivers, we're down 300 bus drivers. We're down over 100 some teachers from high school, elementary, middle school. We're down before the deployment is concerned. But kids are back to school face-to-face or virtual. We have Virginia virtual or Virginia Beach virtual that they are attending. As the numbers went up with the COVID, people decided they want to keep the students home. And if you didn't sign up for virtual in June, you missed that window. But for the second semester, you're coming back and you want your children, your student to be virtual, you need to sign up now and make sure that you get on. Things are going really well. I think with all that we've been through for the last year, almost 2 years, we've come out pretty good. We've come out pretty good. We've had to battle a few things. Some of the schools, if a school get COVID, if they have student tested in COVID, they won't shut down the whole system. They're going to shut down that particular school or that particular venue. And we're trying to watching them. And believe it or not, you know, people are in denial about it as well, but we have some students that's coming in with this COVID. And I just want y'all to keep it all together. Much more I could say, much more I could go into, but any questions, anything you hear you want to talk about that y'all heard?
I was gonna say how the athletic program is going right now, they're still.
The athletic program is on, they're into it, they're doing what they need to do. If they are not participating, they will wear the mask when they're sitting on the bench. Once they get out in the field, they take the mask off. Students are encouraged, all of us should wear the mask in school, but when they go outside, they take the mask off. During lunchtime, when they're eating lunch, they can take the mask off as they're eating as well. So everything is still functional. Even the bands are back, the marching bands are back, all this functioning right now. I mean, it's so much going by, but time is far spent. Any questions? Y'all got questions? Like Miss Owens would call me, she would text me if she got a concern. Miss Price would text me. Text me if you have a concern about anything. It's not so much the buses now. It used to be the buses, people call them this time to hear about buses. But now it's about virtual learning. We have virtual learning even for our special needs students. So those that got in, we have them in, but we could not accommodate everyone as far as virtual is concerned. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Come back.
Okay, I'll be really quick on my report. Couple things going on. You know, we're in election season. Real important to make sure you check that you're registered. Nearly 6,000 people in Virginia Beach have been dropped from the roll for voting. So you need to go online and check your voter registration. I think I put a link on there's a, on your form here. Oh, it's hyperlinked, I'm sorry. But if you go to Virginia Department of Elections, it's gonna come up, okay? And you can put in your information and it'll tell you if you're registered to vote. It will tell you how many times you voted, how many elections you voted in, everything. So if it's not there, then they dropped you off the roll because you haven't voted in the last 2 elections or so. It's easy to register. You can register online with your driver's license now or a state ID. That's all you need. And you can register online and you're registered instantly. I do have the old-fashioned registration forms if you need to register that way, but I do have those. But please make sure you're registered, check with your family, make sure every eligible voter in your household is registered. Early voting starts this Friday, the 17th, so we can start voting early and we don't have to wait. But you want to make sure that you're registered. That's the most important thing. Okay. Dominion Power, I've been working with them with the coastal Virginia offshore wind, but because I've been working with them, I've been finding out about other programs that's been going on. There's been quite a few people in Seatack that have benefited from the weatherization program that they had, Energy Share, and they've had some amazing things done to their homes, at your mom did, right? So we've been working with that, but in addition to that, they have line worker positions coming up in all 7 cities. I have applications, or not applications, I have a form that talked about the job summaries. I printed off copies at work today. It has the link that you go to. The process is to start now because they have some stuff you have to do in advance before they actually do the hiring, which is in November. So if you know anyone is interested in doing that, we need more people in the trade field. They're going to train you. You just have to, you have to get the 18 high school diploma or GED, and we just have certain things that they want you to be able to do. But I have the applications here, I mean not the applications, the forms here talks about it. Okay, and we just talked about the citywide flooding meeting, the flooding for community information, and that's on September 27th. And you must register. You could be in person, it's at Corporate Landing Middle School, or you could do it through Zoom, or you could, but you have to register online to do either one. Okay. The candidates forum. So, we know we have a governor's race, lieutenant governor, attorney general, thank you, drawing a blank, that we have to do. But also locally, we have in our district, we're in the 81st district, Barry Knight is our delegate. He's being challenged by Jeffrey Feld. Philip Kellum is the Commissioner of Revenue, and he's being challenged by Ben Loyola, and Lee Henderson is the current Virginia Beach Treasurer, and she's being challenged by Laura Wood Abear. Wood Abear is actually a member of our Civic League. She's owner of Crocs Restaurant and does a lot of work in the 5 District. But I did tell her that because we're doing this candidates forum, I couldn't ethically let her come and speak. I told her she could still come to the meeting because she's a member, but she couldn't speak because it wouldn't be fair to her opponent. So, and she understood that. So this is what we're going to be doing, the format of it. We're going to be in the gym. Everybody has to still wear their masks. It's going to start at 7. We have Gary McCullough is going to be our moderator. So he's going to ask all the questions. So we need people to do questions in advance. What questions do you want to ask the city treasurer? What questions do you want to ask the Commissioner of Revenue? Or what questions do you want to ask our state delegate who represents us? And so I have some forms back there that you can fill out. You also can email your questions to Seatack Civic League, seatackcivic@gmail.com, and we'll make sure all the questions are gathered prior to the event. And that was everything I had on my treasurer's report. Ms. Tanika, not treasurer, president's report. Sorry, I'm so used to being treasurer in another organization. I apologize. Okay, and Tanika, you want to come and talk about membership, right? And then I think we'll be done. So we have other things to report. Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. I was just coming to let everyone know, if you are a member of the Seatack Civic League, to renew your membership. Membership is now $15. Annual membership goes from January to December for $15 for seniors 75 years or older who live in Seatack for 50 years. Membership is free. Lifetime membership is $300, and it can be paid in installments for every year.
Right, but right now my time is still $250 until January. But the $15 membership is giving you registration for the rest of. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The early bird special, if you purchase your 2022 membership now for $15, you receive 4 months free. September, October, November, and December. So I encourage you all to please join Seatack Civic League. You heard all the great things that the community is working on and that we're going to do. So why don't you be a part of it?
Yes.
Do we have we're like speeding through because we're supposed to have been out of here 15 minutes ago. So the Carrie's waiting on us.
You
So
can improve the neighbor by taking one of our doors and making a little keep a line one we have for that.
oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Gigi?
I was saying, we have at your door hangers,
Oh,
or you can recruit a neighbor or a friend or a person who used to live with Seatack or frequent Seatack by giving them a door hanger and telling them how to, explaining to them how to register online and play by, like you said, play by.
so I apologize that we're speeding through, but we're supposed to be out already. Any other discussions open to the floor, church announcements?
I have one. Good evening. As you can see, we have a little trail here. We are still taking donations because we still have small bills that do come in to the Civic League for the card post. That's how come you all here today. We got notified. We are having our Zoom meetings. So those are bills that have to be paid. So we are taking small, take a few donations. Anything you let it give, because I am the treasurer, so I don't mind taking a little change. So I can buy it and have to pay bills. Thank you all, and thank all of you for your kind of donations.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll be getting, more masks, sanitizer, I'm making some custom hats and things we're gonna have for the winter. For the seniors only, as he's at the park, but I'll email it to you so you can put it on the website.
I'll put up these papers.
So, good stuff.
And
So,
any other? Okay, and so we'll have our benediction on